What's good and what up? It's your brother SamAnt here at Viral Hip Hop News. Do me a favor, family, before we get started with the content. Y'all know what to do. Go up top and hit that like button. Alright, man, so I like to do this on our days off from the Hip Hop Uncensored podcast, Wednesday usually being one of those days. I go through the crates and find some great throwbacks to give to you guys, giving some perspective and giving you game from the legends of our past. This time, tonight, I want to drop something, a rare interview from the late, great Nipsey Hussle, who passed away, obviously, in March of 2019. Nipsey's death being one of the hardest deaths to swallow and to deal with ever in hip-hop. I could personally say for myself, watching Tupac die when I was a child, September 13th, 96, and then 6 months after that, a little under 6 months after that, March 9th, 97, the Notorious B.I.G. passing away, both of which were two of my favorite rappers of all time. But me being a child at the time, I was probably 11, 12 years old when those two icons passed away. And then this past year, or this last couple of months, when Nipsey died, being a 35-year-old husband, father, and just understanding life a little more different. This one right here hit home like no other. When you seen what the brother was doing out here for his community, for his family, in the rap game, just someone that you did not want to see go early because he had so much potential. That being said, went back into the archives, went back into the crates and seen some Nipsey Hussle old interviews that I had in the archive. Shout out to whoever did the interview. It's probably about a decade old by now. This is a young Nipsey Hussle giving some game, talking about his influence, talking about his sound, talking about how he wanted to portray who he was and how he was coming out of Slauson, coming out of the 60s, coming out of South Central California, just being a brother with a dream, man. Great commentary, a great interview by Nipsey Hussle. Stay tuned to the back end of this video because I will be dropping some commentary on what we just heard. Appreciate each and every one of y'all. Make sure you hit the notification bell as well. I'm not going to hold you any longer. Without further ado, Neighborhood Nip. Rest in peace, God. Let's go.
Like on one aspect, it's a part of the South Central state of mind. And that's the name of my album. Bullets don't got no names. You know what I mean? And what it means is that, you know, on one aspect of it, you know, when people go on what they call missions in LA, and what the mission is going to your enemy hood and going to kill somebody. And I've never done that, for the record, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying that the culture of LA, you're not looking for any particular person. You don't necessarily have a quote unquote mark you're looking for, like, you know, the United States was looking for Osama bin Laden. But they're gonna take a Taliban member the same way, you know what I mean? And it's the same with gangbanging. You might be you going over to a blood area, you know what I mean, and you a Crip. You're not gonna see somebody with red laces and be like, oh, that's not who we're looking for. He outside, he's in this area, he's a victim. Get it. And that's the mentality. And so I feel like I don't necessarily agree with that. But that's what we're taught in LA. That's how they mold us. That's what they teach you as a young person in LA. That when it's on, you go to war, you go get your man, you go put in work. Go do your thing. And then when they tell you how to go do your thing, it's, you know, we ain't doing drive-bys. Pulling up, hopping out, chasing a nigga down, and standing over. And that's really a reality in LA. 15, 16-year-old kids is on the missions. And I've seen a lot of that, you know what I'm saying, growing up. A lot of them dudes is either dead, got 100 years in jail, you know what I'm saying, or made the transition mentally and shifted their train of thought to something else. You know what I'm saying? So I felt like my interest into the game, I wanted to speak on that because I didn't feel it was right, and I felt like it had been accepted. Like they just chopped it up as, oh, that's gangbang, cool. LA, the second biggest market in the country, behind New York. You know what I'm saying? This is Hollywood. Hollywood is the #1 export of the United States. Not no raw material, not no soybeans, not no oil, not no gold. Entertainment. Entertainment capital of the world is Hollywood, California. So there's no excuse. It's enough resources. It's enough money here, period. And I feel like it's being neglected. So I wanted to speak on that from an inside perspective. You know what I mean? From an honest perspective. And I feel like, you know, that was what motivated the title, Bullets Ain't Got No Names. You know? And then it's also a universal truth. Like, you're not necessarily using a gun. You gotta be aware of what comes with that. A gun is used to kill, to take a life. You know what I mean? And I feel like a lot of times it's a culture around, you know, shooting a gun in the streets that if you ain't shot a gun, it's like you ain't a man yet. It's like a badge of honor, like a rite of passage. So I feel like, I need to inform these young kids, bullets don't got no name. So if you gonna go, and it comes to that level, I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you like it ain't like that out here. If somebody do something to my family or threaten my life, I'm gonna feel like it's time to kill. And so when it's time, just make sure that you go get your man. And some people won't understand that mentality, but that's a reality that exists. And I was speaking to the ones that come from that from that perspective of what the title means. You feel me? LAPD, you already know, traditionally has been a corrupt police department. You know what I mean? And I feel like in their defense, I ain't want to defend the police, but just to be honest, like LA is a crazy place. Gangbanging exists. It's a real war going on. So a LA police officer has to be cut from a different cloth because it's a real politic in the streets. So I feel like a lot of the officers come from other areas of LA where gang culture doesn't exist. So all they do is they understand it from the third party, from an outside perspective looking in, as opposed to somebody that grew up in the element will have a better understanding and will understand the human element of a quote-unquote gangbanger. Like this was a kid, this is somebody's son, this is somebody that grew up in an environment that molded you to have this type of mentality. You know what I mean? Gangbanging been going on for 40, 50 years. I'm 24. I mean, when I was born in my area, it's been going on for 20 years already. Imagine a person born in a country that's been at war for 20 years. And the war is fought outside of your door. It's not fought, on a base or on a border, it's fought outside of your door. So it's a different way that you come up, and it's a different understanding of life that you have when you're exposed to when you're involved in a gang or even live in an area that's controlled by a gang. So I feel like all that make the police in LA overzealous with the way that they go about it. I feel like the police, one thing that they don't understand is it's mutual respect. On earth, it's mutual respect. Even in the animal world, it's mutual respect. You know what I mean? So I feel like based on that, they look at the people in the communities as threats to them, and they threatened by them, and they intimidated by them. So as a reaction to their intimidation, they put on two schools. And what I mean by that is they go past the line with how disrespectful they are, with how aggressive they are, with how violent they are, because deep down they really are in fear because they're not familiar with it, and they're unaware of really the mentality of these, quote-unquote gang members that they trying to police. So, it's just a fear of the unknown, I think, that make them so violent. And I done had a couple experiences. I ain't never got my ass beat by the police, but they didn't raided my house, my shop, took everything I had from me, made intentional attempts to lock me up and violate, being disrespectful and wish the worst on me. Even once I became successful, they don't believe that I just rap no more. They don't believe that I'm involved in this full time. So they'll still pull me over and be disrespectful and toss my car up. I'm on probation still, so they raid my house still, come in my mama's shit, disrespect her. So, it's fucking in my eyes, but from an intelligent perspective, I understand, why they act the way they act. And I just did a lot for my motivation. It really, people think being in jail make you inspired, and just you got a lot to rap about, but it's not. You have the same day over and over. You wake up to go to sleep. You feel like you're being restricted. You just sitting duck, and it was just I had to really, lean on God, lean on my faith during that time, because what I went to jail for was enough to hold me. So I wouldn't be here doing this interview. I wouldn't be getting ready to drop my album. I'd have been in jail. And by the grace of God, I had money to hire a lawyer. The team stayed down for me, I beat the case and got back out. I want to give a big shout out to one of my favorite websites, 730.no, one of the hottest sites in Norway. You know what it is, man. Make sure y'all check it out. Hustle. I try to tell my story from the perspective of somebody that's completely unaware of the culture of gangbanging. Completely, like if they was living in a cave for the last 20 years. I try to say what I gotta say and express myself to where even a person from that background can understand it. That's totally unfamiliar with the culture of the streets of LA, totally unfamiliar with the legacy of LA music, but will still totally get what I'm saying. Understand my brain. Yeah, that's one of the biggest obstacles. A lot of times artists either satisfy one or the other. They either satisfy the commercial audience, or they satisfy the hardcore street audience. But you get certain instances like a Jeezy or like a 50 Cent or like a Jay-Z to where they transcend just people that come from a similar lifestyle, and they start being a person that everybody can relate to. And I think, a lot of that I think people root for the underdog. So one of my biggest things is people like to see that I came from, you know, an environment and a lifestyle of nothing. You know what I'm saying? And have no handouts, no outlets, and no action at a record label or a studio or a person like Gang or Snoop Dogg to co-sign with Dr. Dre. And then I've made it to where I'm at and continue to move forward. I think even if a person isn't familiar with the streets, like I said before, they can respect that and admire that and connect to it. I was influenced by hip hop in general. So anybody that was a king at one point, that I was big, DMX, 50 Cent, Jeezy, I'm influenced by all of them. And to say I wouldn't would be a lie, you know what I mean? Like, I don't live in a vacuum, I listen to the radio, I watch TV and BT. So, you know, one thing that really made me connect to artists is that I feel they're being sincere. Like, you don't have to be a street artist to necessarily be a fan. Like, I'm a big fan of Drake music. I'm a big fan of Kanye music. You know what I mean? I'm not categorizing them in the same category. I'm just saying, like, by them traditionally not being quote unquote gangster rappers. You know what I mean? I just like the fact that their music is honest. Like, I like Sade, I like a lot of type of music. It just, I gotta feel the sincerity in it, I connect to it. Yeah, the highlight though, if I gotta pick one, was when I first heard Hustle in the House on the radio, Power 106 in LA. You know what I mean? I was big for it. You know? Because I didn't compromise my music to get on the radio. That was a hardcore LA record. Power 106 is the top 10 radio station. I mean, they played hits off the Billboard charts. So when my movement became so strong in the streets that it trickled up to the radio without me soliciting myself, without a major label servicing it to the radio, it was like a hell of a motivation. Like, you know, I had to stop and pat myself on the back for a second. You know, I feel like we're in a renaissance. You know what I mean? Like, we're in a rebuilding. We're developing our new sound. We're moving into the future. You know what I mean? Like, for years, it was 5 people that had a stronghold on the West Coast market. And nobody can be upset. Everybody got to respect it as what it is, you know, but that's just what it was. It was Drake, Snoop, Suge Knight, Ice Cube, and DJ Quick, you know what I mean? And other than that, it wasn't really, if you wasn't going through one of those people, there was no access to the industry as an LA artist, you know what I mean? So I think that right now we got artists like myself, Blasted Malone, J-Rock, 211, Problem, Game. Obviously he's a star already. He's established himself, but he's still young and he still represent, you know, the culture of this next generation. So I think he played a big part in it. But I think that not only everybody doing their music, everybody is actually rallying behind each other. Like right now, Snoop got an album out. Everything he's been doing in LA to promote his album, every artist I just named been on the list at the events. Not only been on the list, been on stage with Snoop. Not only on stage, doing their music, performing their songs. So to the fans of Snoop Dogg, they now become fans of 211, or fans of Rocket, or fans of Nipsey Hussle, or fans of Blasted Malone. And now when it's on Game and his album coming out, it's the same thing. Everybody gonna rally behind it. And when it's on me, it's gonna be the same thing. Everybody gonna rally behind it. And I think that's what we seen with Atlanta, that's what we seen with Miami. And now I feel like we're gonna see that again with LA.
Yeah. So you think that it will be better for California rap in 2010?
For sure. It already is. Like, you know, we wasn't getting money out here. Not from the music industry. We was in the streets. I don't do nothing no more. I rap. You know what I mean? My phone ringing. It's about bread. It's about some music. They want a verse or they want me to do a show. And I can name 5 or 6 other niggas that's in the same position that a couple years ago was in the county jail or on probation or had a dope spot or was sitting in a, you know, on a block somewhere. So I feel like it's definitely getting better now. It's gonna continue to get better. And when a new artist come out and actually become successful without Dr. Dre, without being signed to Snoop, without being signed to Gang, without being signed to Death Row, that every label out here is gonna start opening up their checkbooks and signing, you know what I'm saying, they West Coast artists. We seen it happen everywhere. When, you know what I mean, when Snoop popped, the labels went to Long Beach and started finding anything from Long Beach. We got everything out of Long Beach when Snoop popped off, you know what I mean? It was the Dove Shack, Badass. Just countless artists that came from out of that area, you know what I mean, after Snoop popped off. So I feel like it's gonna be the same thing. When LA really producing other artists, and I'm gonna say it's gonna be me, you know what I mean? But when it happens, I think that the labels is gonna be a little bit less apprehensive about spending bread. And they gonna start giving people deals and actually taking risk again on West Coast artists. You know, we don't have no studios that we just got access to. We don't got no rich uncles. We don't got nobody in the industry that's in our family. You know what I mean? We don't have no, even in LA, we don't have a hip-hop outlet. You know what I mean? Like in Atlanta or New York. It's only a couple labels out here. Them couple labels ain't really urban hip-hop labels. So on top of that, we come from a real environment where it's a crab in a bucket mentality, where, you know what I mean, everybody doing bad. So when one person starts to move forward and you know, become a little bit successful, but you still within reach of these people, it's very hard, because, you know, you're dealing with the pressures of trying to be successful, as well as the pressure of people intentionally waking up to try to bring harm your way. You know what I mean? And try to stop you from doing that. Because if I grew up on the same block you grew up on, and we had the same trials and tribulations, but you became successful and I became a failure, it made me feel a certain way about myself, because we had the same, we were dealt the same deck of cards. You know what I mean? So I feel like my success affect the people closest to me the most. A person that don't know me might root for me, you know what I mean, and be happy for me. But the person that know me and come from the same environment and had the same cards dealt to them, that keep going to jail, don't have no money, never made their parents proud or their mama proud, never did anything that they could look in the mirror and be proud of. You know what I mean? It make them feel a certain way, and it's intense. And that shit manifests into jealousy, hate, violence. You know what I mean? And it's deep, because it's a stigma about artists becoming Hollywood, especially street artists going Hollywood. But it's almost like, if you don't, you're gonna sacrifice yourself for the opinions of others. You know what I mean? So people look at you as, oh, you keep it real, instead of in your heart doing what you know you had to do to attain your goal. So like I said, it's a cold balance. I had to stop smoking weed just because I need my whole mind. I gotta use my whole brain. I can't be high making decisions. I gotta be fully sharp. You know what I mean? But I had to cut a lot of people off. There's a lot of people mad at me right now. But, you know, I had to make a decision that I'd rather other people be mad at me than I'll be mad at myself.
All right, I appreciate each and every one of y'all who stuck around for the 17th minute mark to hear my commentary on the back end of this video. Shout out to the late, great Nipsey Hussle for always dropping some gems, always dropping something to listen to. Such a charismatic man, charismatic individual. You can see why his life and his death left such a great impact out here on the world for people who knew him and who didn't. Just an interesting perspective that I was thinking about as I was watching this video, and just going through ever since he passed away. And one term that I've heard a lot, numerous times throughout his death, is that we don't give our legends, we don't give the people who are out here really making a difference in the world their flowers while they're here. And I couldn't agree with that statement more, but it just kind of makes me dig deeper into death itself, something that none of us have a real true understanding of, because once we die, we can't talk about it. You know what I mean? But I don't know if people are meant to have their flowers or meant to be remembered until they die. And hear me out. Death has this interesting way of transferring the person's energy who died throughout the entire world. And when Nipsey Hussle died, it was felt, it's still felt. You've seen people coming out of work saying things, people remembering him, people being so affected. And I alluded to the fact that it seems as though when he passed away, it was this outpouring of his energy in and out of everybody's veins who was affected. It doesn't seem as though people truly remember until you pass away. And I ask you this, is that because we're not supposed to remember, or we're not supposed to until they pass away? Yeah, that may sound like a selfish thing because we're not appreciating them while they're here. But as we remember them, as we keep their name and their legacy alive, it is just that. It's keeping them alive. It's keeping their name and their legacy out here to where if they passed away and forgot were not spoken about, they would be essentially forgotten about. Nipsey will never die. Tupac and Biggie will never die, because we continue to give them flowers while they're not here. So just as my perspective on that, y'all leave a comment in the comment section if you did happen to stick around on the back end of this video. Let me know what you think of my premise. I think a lot of the dead get their flowers when they're gone because their energy is transferred and they want to live forever. That's just my thought. Shout out to the family of Nipsey Hussle. Appreciate doing this video. Appreciate for those who watch. Make sure you hit that notification bell to get all the latest notifications for Viral Hip Hop News Uncensored, and of course, the Hip Hop Uncensored podcast, the most dangerous, most underrated podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, and all major online outlets. This is SamAnt, Viral Hip Hop News, the CEO, and I'm out of here, man. Peace.